Today at Exploring Limitations, we are going to be recording violin through effects onto cassette. Here we go. We've been working on an unreleased cassette piece, and yesterday we added the finishing touches with J.D. Hunter. Violinist, producer, and orchestrator extraordinaire. JD and I met on a Broadway tour, and they're an incredible artist who was down to let me twist and bend the sound of their violin into different colors and shapes, literally. Go follow JD on Instagram at QueenJD. Collin Stanley also gets big props for helping out with the tracking of the violin yesterday. Great to have Collin around, always. Before we get further talking about the violin and the tracking, let me play you a quick snippet of the track that JD was performing to, over here on the Cassette Porta Studio. Yeah. Sick. I'm just gonna let that play. It's got such a groovy, meditative vibe. Get lost in the rhythm of love. This is a very collaborative track. Most things you're hearing, the drums, the piano, and the modular synth part were performed by my studio partner, Eric Hogemeyer. Like I said, this is a very groovy, meditative track, and it still was missing some element, and I just needed some floating violin on top. But now that you have a little taste of the music, let's talk about the violin's signal chain. Signal chain for a violin, wouldn't you just throw a mic in front of it and record it? I mean, yeah, most of the time, but this is made on tape. To get the most direct sound, we set up a Shure SM57, the old standby. That is being sent directly into this Acme Motown Tube preamp, which is, funny enough, currently what you're hearing my voice through at the moment. Boy howdy do we love this thing. It is amazing. And that is being sent out into Ampland. That means we could pull the signal from that reamp box, put it through guitar effects, and send it into our Roland Jazz Chorus. That's the 120. I'll talk about the exact effects a little bit later when we start listening to the violin, but that guitar amp sound was being recorded with this, the SM7B. And that signal was going right onto tape. Basically, we were doing our best to turn an acoustic violin into a version of an electric guitar. Enough nerd talk about signal chains, let's get to the first take. You've already heard the musical example. That is right here on tracks 3 and 4. If you're curious why a whole bunch of instruments are on 2 tracks right here on 3 and 4, I recommend checking out my video on external bouncing. Point being is, on a 4-track machine, now JD only had 2 tracks available through which to record. So the first take is here on track 2. I don't know why, because I think backwards. Let's listen to the soloed sound that we got on track 2, and I'm gonna talk about how we achieved that sound. Now we've got a flat EQ going. It's a very dynamic performance. While that beautiful violin is going solo, I'm gonna say that signal was going directly into the whammy, which had a setting of the octave lower. That's why you're hearing, it sounds like 2 violins or 2 strings. There, you hear that octave low signal? There, now you can really hear it. Now this was also being sent into the MXR Phase 95, my little phaser. That's what that wah 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 wah, that's what that effect is. And in addition to that, it was going into the MXR analog delay. And at some point, there, you can hear me playing with the delay speed. Nice. This is totally flat EQ, unmixed violin soloed. Once that was laid down here on track 2, I knew right away that we had something. But we had that fully open second track, track 1, which brings us to the second take. We wanted to go for a different sound here. Removed the previous pedals and brought in some new ones. So let's first just listen, and I'm gonna talk about how we got the sound we got. Ooh. Oh, yeah. It's a much more ghostly sound. I mean, my goodness. Yes. This is one of my favorite pedals. It's the Game Changer Audio Optical Spring Reverb. Listen to that. And I have it on the tremolo setting. You should watch my video on that pedal. It's one of my favorite pedals of all time. And I'm sitting here controlling the speed of the tremolo. And this signal is also going into the MXR Echoplex delay pedal. Again, we're flat EQ here. Ooh. JD. Yes. During this second take, we really started to get our flow of responding to each other. I was listening to what JD was playing, and I would tweak the sound in a certain way, either speed up the tremolo or add delay, and JD would in turn respond to that. This is a very fun way to get new sounds together. That is all fascinating. That is all just naked violin, naked EQ. That is what we tracked. So now let's get to mixing choices. Here we are. The violins were the missing piece to this piece of music to me. I said the word piece too many times, but it's got multiple meanings. Right now, I'm just gonna talk about mixing the violin with the track, and how I'm gonna do that first is just make sure it's blending in EQ-wise. So let's start the track from the middle somewhere and just focus on track 2, the first take violin. Okay, soloed. As you can hear, there's no compression, so the dynamic range is very intense. I'm gonna pause it there for a second, because a lot of times in mixing tutorials on the YouTubes and all that stuff, you make subtle, like 2-3 decibel things like that. People talk about that all the time on YouTube Music Land. Well, I'm here to say, in analog world, this EQ knob, try pulling it the whole way, because it's a little harsh to my ears when the dynamics pop up. I also focused on the mid-range around that Fletcher-Munson curve, 4K. Let's pull that all the way down. See, now it sounds muffled. Add that back in. Add a little bit more highs back in. I'm gonna put the EQ flat again. Those simple cuts have already made it fit a little bit better into the mix. I have not put any compression on it. I might need to, because the dynamic range is extreme, or I can do the old school compressor technique, which is this. That's how you used to compress way back in the day. Ride those faders, baby. Analog. Let's hear that second violin, and from a similar spot. And I'm gonna try to EQ that a bit. Yeah, this is harsh. I pulled the highs almost all the way down now. See, hear them back. And let's make a similar cut. Oh, I love this so much. Woo. Now let's hear both violins together. Let's go back to the similar spot, but now it's not cutting my ears as much. Ooh. Just listen. A sculptor often says that the material dictates what's needed to make the piece of art. That is where we are currently at with this mix. Just verbally, I can say we have two major contrasting things. We have these duo violins and this meditative, loud track. We can create dynamics between the two of those things, and I would love to share that with you. Here's a quick example of the final mix. Check it out. There you have it. If you'd like to know exactly how I got to that final mix, please come join me over on patreon.com/madeontape. Nothing makes me happier than collaborating with other people, other musicians, specifically cool people. JD brought awesome ideas, and Collin was a huge help yesterday. If you're ever feeling stuck creatively, I can't recommend enough trying to work with someone and practice accepting their ideas and vice versa. That give and take can yield such amazing creative results. You'll never know where you're gonna get. Thanks again for watching. Again, all the links are in the description below. Patreon is there. Links to the original music is there. This track will be out in the future. I'm having a blast making these videos and sharing this with y'all, and I hope you enjoy watching. And with that, as always, is peace, and be good to each other. Yes.